Hey there YouTube, I'm doing another deck profile video today. Said I was going to do a follow-up to the previous one I did for Cardfight Vanguard regarding the Neo Nectar trial deck that came out last month. So now we have the TRY3 Ahsha release. So Neo Nectar got a nice boost. We were talking about it on the live stream before about how Royal Paladin Neo Nectar basically got the majority of it. ZTB, Gear Chronicle got a couple of things, but for the most part, it's Neo Nectar that in general got the best improvement. Royal Paladin, they kind of fixed Brave, but overall, Neo Nectar, I think, cashed out with the best stuff. So, we're going to go over the main deck here, the card choices. There's a lot of different ways to build the bloom-based Neo Nectars now. So, this is my take on it. So, for starters, for Searing or Ranunculus of Searing Heart Ahsha. So this is the new one. This is probably like the most sought after triple R from the set because it seems like, I don't know why, but everybody seems to want these compared to the Op Miles. So yeah, 4 of these. Her on-strike skill is more hefty cost than the previous one. In addition to the Counter Blast one, you have to also Soul Blast one now. But her GB2 skill is a Bloom effect, so she actually has the keyword Bloom now, where she can countercharge and soul charge when another unit with the same card name as this unit is placed on R. So if you clone the name of this, or you clone it and get like one of those, or just call it down with GB2, then you get to countercharge and soul charge essentially for free. The main thing that they gave her, though, that I feel like is the most useful effect, aside from the on-stride skill and the Bloom effect, is her regular Vanguard effect that can activate. It's the auto effect that activates at the end of each turn. So that's the end of your turn, the end of your opponent's turn, and you can choose a card of your hand, you can call to R. So this is really good at helping them get set up to make sure they can clone stuff. So that's probably why a lot of people are looking for this card. Not so much because of the GB2 skill or the on-strike skill, but rather the other effect that she has. So backup grade 3s for her could be Inez or any of the other Bloom-based grade 3s with rearguard effects. But I chose to run the original Ahsha, so the one from the trial deck. So that way the deck is extremely consistent, especially with the new G-Guard. So you have a lot of Ranunculus cards that you can have on the field. And she also has a pretty decent GB2 skill as well. So I argue that her GB2 skill is a lot more useful than the newer one. So it can help you push for game. Basically, it's like Arbros Dragon's effect, only better. So 7 grade 3s. That's the grade 3 lineup. So 4 of the new one, 3 of the old one. You can do 4-4, or you don't even have to run this. You can run like an Inez or something, but that's the lineup that I went with. For grade 2s, 4 Tenacious Maiden Noel. So she requires a Ranunculus Vanguard, so that's why I'm running like all Ranunculus, because it helps the consistency of this card a lot. She replaced Greenshot Elf, for those wondering. So I used to run Greenshot Elf, now running Noel. She's probably another triple R that a lot of people are looking for. She has a GB2 skill, which is interesting because not a lot of rearguards have, or cards that are not grade 3 don't have a lot of GB2 skills. But she has a GB2 skill, which basically, it's a main phase skill. You can discard one card from your hand if you got Ranunculus Vanguard, and then you can have her get, this unit can attack a Vanguard from the back row. So key distinction is you can only attack the Vanguard from the back row. She cannot poke at a rearguard from the back row, so she can't troll and do like 9 to a 9 from the back and force them to like either let it die or whatever. But pretty good. And then she has her Bloom skill. When something with the same card name as her is placed on R, all units in the same column as this unit get 4K. So it's essentially +8 to a column. Pretty nice, with the ability to also potentially be able to push for game attack from the back. So like 2 of these together, yeah, you can imagine like how good that is. So Noel is pretty good, new card they got. Next I'm running the trial deck Anelma, because I didn't really give her enough time, I think, to test. I was thinking of not running her and running Greenshot Elf, because I like how Greenshot Elf is really consistent, doesn't need Ranunculus, but since I'm running all Ranunculus, I recommend Anelma. She's pretty good, especially with some of the new Stride units, which we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, 4 of her. She's another one of the key bloom units. Both of these have bloom. The new Ahsha has bloom. So the grade 2 that does not have bloom, I'm still running, is Thuria at 3 copies because she can clone and get whatever name she needs to have, whether it's Ranunculus, whether it's Noelle, Anelma, whatever. So she can help the bloom effects. Really good bloom support with Ranunculus Vanguards. So it's a natural fit for a deck that's running all Ranunculus Vanguards. Moving on to grade 1s, I'm running 4 Flower Keeper Dragon. So a lot of people were like, well, it's better to run a Lilga. It's debatable, it depends. Like if you're running all Ranunculus like me, I feel like Flower Keeper Dragon really shines. If you're not, like if you're running say Inez at 3 or 4 with the new Ahsha or the old one, then it's arguable that Lilga is better because Lilga does have the bloom skill. And there is a combo with Inverno that you can essentially get like 2 perfect cards to your hand from the deck. So, I guess from the deck to the hand, to the field, then back to the hand with Inverno. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, I want to try this new card. The only negative about this card, honestly, is it doesn't have the bloom effect or the bloom keyword, but it's still really decent as a standalone, as like a pretty new Sentinel that they got. But it is really only good with Ranunculus, though. Like, that's where it's really at its best. Next, 4 Katrina, because she's still one of your big power pusher, whatever you want to call it, strong rear guards that does things and helps you win games. Then 4 Odette. So Faith Maiden Odette replaced Penelope, who I was running before. Penelope was a bloom unit from the trial deck, which is similar because neither one of them, their bloom effects can actually activate without GB1, which is nice. So if you don't have Katrina, I'd recommend Odette with Penelope. That's still a really good backup choice. Or if you don't have Penelope, then it would just be what I have. But yeah, Faith Maiden Odette. She basically is the grade 1 of sort of Anelma, sort of. Or maybe it's this one. She does have the ability also to center back. Oh no, she's the grade 1 of Thuria, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so both Thuria and her have the, at the beginning of the main phase, you have Vanguard with Ranunculus. You can choose a card from the drop zone, put on the bottom of the deck, and bounce them back to your hand. So you can make her do her, you can basically make her bloom effect go off multiple times. Beyond the turn that she was initially called, so that's why she's pretty good. And finally, 3 Padmini, because this is a stride-focused deck, and striding is really important. If you want to run 4 stride enablers, and it is pretty good at 4, you could drop one of these 2 depending on which one you like more, or which one you like less, rather. You would take one of those out and put 4 Padmini. But yeah, 3 of those. So 15 grade 1, and 7 grade 3, and 11 grade 2. That's the lineup. For the trigger lineup, we're running 4 Lisbeth, because she's still legal at 4 copies in the English format, and she's got the bloom keyword, she's really good. 4 Millis, she is Ranunculus critical. We have 4 more other criticals. People are wondering why I don't not. People are saying why I don't run the new Maiden of that goes into Soul, basically the Flame of Victory for them. The reason why is because sometimes you need the 5k to form a 16 line or a 21 line and go for a game. There's a few scenarios where that does come in handy, and I'm almost never going to call down a heal trigger because heal triggers are just way too good as G-Guardians. So that's the reason why I keep it like that. And with Millis, honestly, and all like the bloom stuff, you don't really need the Flame of Victory clone card. I mean, I may consider it, but right now the deck functions fine without it. And then the starter is Augury Maiden Ida from the newer trial deck. Still pretty decent at 1. Yeah, don't really see the need to run 2 of this, especially with the new Ahsha skill. And at 4 copies, the new Ahsha is typically the one that you're going to see more of in most of your games. So that's the main deck. For the strides, here's where it gets really interesting. So, of course, still running 4 Dream Spinning, because Dream Spinning is still a really good first stride, usually. And then 2 of the Glorious Bloom. So this The first time you do this, it's try to push. The second time you do this, is try to go for game. Still really good. Of course, Celine at 1. She's a good stride if, let's say, you rode the original Ahsha instead and they killed your Ida. Or you just have Ida, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, so like if this is your only setup, then you can stride Celine, because then Celine will allow you to call some other random card down and then get the on-stride skill. So Celine's good at 1 copy for that reason. So I'd recommend her at 1 just for that scenario. Then 3 Verano, because she basically replaced Primavera. And 3 of her because sometimes you can flip up the other one with Glorious Bloom. And then 2 Inverno. Inverno is, a lot of people are saying like run 4 Inverno. No, it's way too much. I wouldn't run any more than 3 of this. Typically 2 is enough because you will usually only stride this twice, and depending on the matchup, sometimes you won't really stride it. So Inverno is really good though. So definitely I recommend at least 1 copy, if not 2. And then for the G Guardians, 2 Rain Breath Dragon, because he is still a very solid choice for Neo Nectar in general. And then 2 of the Passiflora Flower Princess Marlene. She is in here. She's the new one, but she is Ranunculus specific to get the, well, not really Ranunculus specific, but we'll talk about her now. So basically with her, you need to have either 2 units on the field with Ranunculus, whether it's any combination of these cards, whether it's these 2, 2 of this, 2 of that, 1 of each, or Thuria, where Thuria is copying either one of these, and then you have Marlene's. Then you get an easy access to a plus 15k shield. That's usually the way I play the deck to benefit the most with this card. The other way is to have 4 or more units with the same card name as the chosen unit. So that would be basically having, say, like a setup where you have like this kind of setup where this has that name, and then like this would be the Vanguard or something. So, which is very rare and not exactly that reliable. So that's why I go for the max the Ranunculus cards, so you can actually just benefit just from having 2 Ranunculus cards. Because they do not have to have the same name. It could be like the old Ahsha and the new Ahsha, and it would still work. So Marlene's really good at 2. It basically gives them a really good G Guardian that they needed, that has an extra boost of plus 15k shield. It's really nice. So they have their low shield G Guard and their high shield G Guard. Thoughts on other choices besides Inverno? Inverno, of course, is like a must for now. But if you wanted to run, say, Ilmatar, because Ilmatar is not all that old of a card yet. A lot of people say this card's terrible. In my playtesting, this card is actually really amazing and worth running at 2 copies just to be able to stride it once. So I was thinking either drop 1 Verano and 1 Bloom Ahsha. So you could run these 2. So essentially you would have a lineup like this. So you'd have 4 Dream, 1 of this, 1 of this, 2 of those, 2 of those, and 2 of these. And then your G Guardians. So this is a pretty good, I would say a pretty good alternate build. Someone also was telling me run only 3 Dream Spinning, so you can run the second Bloom Ahsha, because with that, 1 Bloom Ahsha would flip up your remaining Dream, and then the other one would flip up Verano or something, but I don't really know why. I don't really like that, so I kind of like Dream Spinning at 4. I'd rather take out 1 Glory or Glorious and just do something like this. So let me know, guys, if you want to run Ilmatar. Ilmatar is actually a pretty solid card at generating a lot of pressure. If anything, it forces the opponent to throw shield out that they typically didn't want to guard. Like if they didn't want to guard, say, the Vanguard, now they have to because it gets a critical. And then on top of that, if they don't guard one of the rear guards, you're going to be drawing a card off of that. And a deck that has massive attack columns, being able to draw cards for free and deal the opponent damage is pretty good, in my opinion. So let me know, like, what's your stride line, because that's really my only mixed bag decision making here on this deck. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile, and stay tuned for more Cardfight Vanguard videos in the future, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.